Good morning, Cedars Church family. Coming at you again today with another word of encouragement. One of my favorite movies of all time is Castaway with Tom Hanks. And I'm not even sure why it's one of my favorite movies, but something about the struggle that he goes through. Tom Hanks is a guy flying on a plane. Plane crashes. He ends up alone on a desert island for like 3 years. And there's something about his struggle. It makes you wonder, could I could I endure what he's going through? And one of his biggest struggles isn't really just survival on a desert island, but it's coping with the loneliness that he experiences while he's there. He's just by himself, so much alone, so much in solitude that he ends up speaking to his volleyball Wilson, and we're all familiar with the Wilson line, talking to Wilson all the time. I often joke that if I was to just simply go have an office and work somewhere else, that it wouldn't be long before I was running around in a loincloth and talking to my own volleyball. Because there's something about companionship. There's something about being around other people that really makes us feel whole. Even introverts still at some point like to have other people come around them. Most of the time, when we're dealing with a personal issue, we're dealing with a personal struggle. Maybe it's some kind of a sin that we're struggling with. It's something that is affecting our entire lives. It's something that is it could be money issues. It could be work issues. Maybe we don't want to tell our wives about something that might affect our security, or something along those lines. Most of the time, it makes us feel very alone. It makes us feel very isolated because we feel that we don't have someone that we can talk to about it. But the thing that I've come to find in many years of doing ministry is that there's always somebody dealing with the same thing. There's always someone who is struggling with the same issue in some way, shape, or form. It could be one person's having problems with a boss, someone else might be having problems with an employee. But there's some kind of there's always something to relate to somebody else with. Usually when we feel alone, we're not nearly as alone as we might think. But what's interesting about our current situation, our current global situation, is that never before, I think, in history, have we seen so many people struggling with the exact same thing. It's the same issue that we're all dealing with, some form of isolation. Yes, there's people who are working. They're the essential workers. They're working in the stores. They're the health workers and such, and they get to be around other people. But even still, even in the social situations, we're trying to keep social distancing. I think even a lot of people are struggling with just needing touch. Even at home, I've got my wife, I've got my kids, but I miss hugging people. I'm a hugger, right? So I miss hugging people. I miss just showing physical touch and love and intimacy with my friends. Um, but but everyone is dealing with the same thing at the same time. So here we are feeling alone, and yet knowing that we're not alone in our feeling alone, but that everyone feels alone. It's this really kind of strange paradox. But we're all in the same boat. I think that's why we get frustrated with the hoarders, because we're all in the same boat, we get frustrated when we see that level of selfishness going on. We really want this unity. We're, as a society, we're actually desiring a level of unity because at least that lets us feel a level of companionship, friendship, kinship with one another, that we can associate with each other in the struggle that we're going through. In Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 12, Solomon wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, and he was observing a man who doesn't have any family, doesn't have any friends, and he's wondering, what am I working so hard for? And he was kind of commenting that it's very miserable. It's miserable not to have anyone. It's miserable not to have someone to pour your life into, to be working so hard and to not be able to share what you've earned with somebody else. And so as he's contemplating this, he ultimately writes down his thoughts about this man who is alone. And he says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. It's just better to work together. He says, if either one of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, he says, if two lie down together, they'll keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And, of course, this was a time when you would go traveling and be out in the open. And it's just, if it's cold, you can at least keep warmth together. But you can't keep warm by yourself. We need each other. He says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. And a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And that's good lesson for us, that the more of us there are working together, the more of us there are together, the stronger we are. In the church, it's why we're told not to stop meeting together. It's not some kind of a commandment, thou shalt not give up going to church, because here we are all not being able to go to church. We all can't go to church right now. And we're still trying to work that out via video. We're trying to work that out via Zoom. We have great Bible studies via Zoom chat. Tonight we had a game night via Zoom so that we could just see each other and talk to each other. It's not this commandment to not meet with each other, but because it's not good for us to be alone. We're better as Christians when we're trying to walk the walk, when we're trying to do what's good, do what's right, do what God's called us to do, to have other people around us to encourage us, to lift us up, to fight for us, to pray for us, to be there to help us to not fall away, to fall by the wayside. Even during creation, God made the sun and the moon, and he said it was good. He made light, said it was good. Made the stars, and he made the fish and the reptiles and all the animals, and just he made everything. And he says, and it was good, repeatedly, and it was good. And then he made man, and then he said it was not good because man was alone. He knew that man needed companionship. And so in the same way, we're built to need each other. We're built to need one another. We need companionship. In fact, right now what we're finding is that we're desperate for companionship. We need to be able to rely upon one another. So my call is that during this time, don't lose that tie. Don't lose that opportunity to make friends. Don't lose that opportunity to be able to reach out to each other. C.S. Lewis, the famous author, is quoted as saying, friendship is born at the moment when one person says to another, what? You too? I thought I was the only one. We have an immediate tie with one another, an immediate point of relationship with one another because we're all going through the same thing. So let's find this opportunity to reach out to those who might be feeling alone. Let's take this opportunity to bless other people who might be struggling right now during this time. And if you're the one who's struggling, make yourself available to be reached out to. And to be honest with you, if you are struggling personally and you feel that you don't have anyone to reach out to you and you're wondering how you're going to find any kind of companionship or society in your current situation, put a note here under this video and we'll answer to you. We'll talk to you. we'll spend some time with you. Someone from Cedars will get together with you, and if even for now, as we have to via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever we can do, we'll talk to you because you need a friend, and the reality of it is, I need a friend too. Well, God bless you, and I pray that you have a wonderful day. And remember, you are loved.